Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Yusuf Alasri Balogun, and I welcome you all to this week's session of Skillup Africa webinar series. It's a program where we talk about topics in tech and trying to bring it closer to the people, especially young Africans, and concept around tech. What are the areas they need to watch out for? What are the skills they need to acquire? What are the latest innovations? We tend to bring out speakers across different fields in tech, to talk about different topics and how young people can tap into those topics. So previously we talked about bringing in a digital marketing professional. We talked about a cybersecurity expert some weeks back, and we also brought about a sales tech professional. For this week, we are bringing in someone from a business process management background. Mr. Mtobe Lawal will be joining us today to talk about how young Africans can get into tech, especially can explore the area of business process management. Mr. Mtobe, can you hear me, please? Good afternoon.
Hi, Yusuf. Good afternoon.
You can start sharing your video. I think we can see your face.
Good afternoon, Yusuf.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
How's the weekend been?
Thank you.
So, Mr. Mizba, we're talking about how to start a career in business process management, how to build your career in that space. But before you start, I will need to want to read up a little bit about our profile for us, so we can have a full grasp of her background and how she's very, very a strong person in that space and why she's pivotal to the topic we're discussing today. Also, she's a reliable and strategic professional with an inquiring mind. She has eyes for details and excellent analytical skills. So she's a flexible, adaptable, and capable team leadership person. She has worked in different spaces and she has been able to show that mindset where she can manage teams across different spaces, and she has been able to display that flexibility that is needed in that space. So she'll be giving us that topic about how to start a career in business management, how to build a career in that space, what are the skills you need to watch out for, what are the prospects, because before she even start talking, personally as a person, when I heard the idea of business management, I was like, what's this topic, how does a young person, how does a young person get that space? How does a young person start the step into getting into that process? All of that question will be answered today, and many more of that. So, Miss Timothy Lawa, please, you can start the presentation for us today.
Okay, thank you very much, Yusuf. It's a pleasure to be here, and like Yusuf said, I will be talking about business process management and how to get into that space. Before I go into sharing my presentation, I would like everybody to bear in mind, see themselves as business owners. I would like to start from there, so that at the end of it all, we really understand what business process management is about, and also how we can add value as a business process manager or analyst, in any business that we decide to work with. So imagine yourself as a business owner. I'll use 2 case studies. Let's start with the retail sector. Imagine that you own a retail business. Typical example would be a supermarket. And you have you know that, oh yes, you're running a very big supermarket. You have everything in place in terms of items, products, and to a large extent, you have customers that come in and all of that. However, you do not have any standardized approach towards driving your business, meaning that you don't have a timeline for getting your inventories checked. You don't have a timeline for suppliers and vendors to bring in items. You don't have, reorder threshold. You don't have channels that manages customer satisfaction. You have cases where customers will come in, return items, and then your staff will just take it, and then another day you change manager, another person comes in. It does it just the way you understand it. So already, if you have a business mindset, you already begin to identify what risk you're exposing your business to like that. One thing I already see is that customer satisfaction becomes zero, because if you do not have a standardized approach towards how you restock your items, for instance, you have to wait for items to run out of stock before you start contacting your supplier. when you contact your supplier, it takes them another 2 or 3 days before they bring in the items. Customers have come in, they've left. Or you change manager, and then the new manager doesn't even know how to go about the inventory, or how to ensure that what is being sold is what is really being sold. Then you also stand the risk of also losing money at that point in time. Your profitability goes down. Another typical example that I would like to use would also be the manufacturing sector. So imagine that you own a bottled water production company, and today we have a different size of bottled water produced by your staff. Tomorrow it's another size. The other day is that the cover is not properly corked. Another time is that they are not producing as they're supposed to produce, and so you have less items to supply your customers. But if there had been a standardized approach towards doing this thing, where you have people that need to resume for morning shift knows when to resume, people that are producing know what size of bottle they need to use, how to cork the bottles, what level they should put the water on when they are filling the bottle, all those little details. If there has been a standardized approach as to how it should be handled, you would not face such problems in a business. Now, having said all of this, and that is the point where BPM comes in. Business process management comes in to ensure that institutional knowledge is maintained. Is to ensure that your processes are standardized. You're not just doing things for the sake of doing them in the business. Business process management helps to guide and drive the business towards its strategic goals, which is to grow, to satisfy customers, and to operate at a very high efficient, or at a very high efficient mode. Now I go into my presentation where we'll now begin to talk about what really business process management is about. Give me a minute to share my screen. Okay, so here we are. All right, so today's topic is about business process management and career skills and prospects, right? So what is business process management itself? Remember when we started, I was talking about, seeing yourself as a business owner, owning a business, and not having standard approach in place to get your things done, and the risk that you stand. So in the professional world, how is business process management defined, or how is it seen? Business process management is a discipline that encompasses the planning, designing, and controlling business processes in order to achieve customer requirements or organizational goals. And the responsibilities of business process management includes driving business processes from end to end, using information capture, flow coordination, design, evolution control, to drive the business strategic goals. Now, when BPM is properly executed, it will enhance efficiency and productivity. It would help business to reduce costs, minimize errors and risk, and thereby optimizing results. In the business world today, there are 3 major things I believe are of key importance to any business. Any business wants to grow. Any business wants efficiency. They want operational excellence. Any business wants revenue growth. Apart from expanding, they want their revenue, they want profitability. And if there are a lot of inconsistencies in how you do your business, you stand the risk of not even growing as a business. You stand the risk of not being able to increase your profitability. So that is why business process management is key to any business today. And why do we have business process management? First, it gives you competitive advantage. As we all know today, thanks to technology, the business landscape has become really, really competitive. As a matter of fact, those days where entry to markets was like a barrier to people, that barrier keeps getting lower by each day. Thanks a lot to technology. And for this reason, every business needs to be on their toes to ensure that they are delivering properly to their customers. They need to ensure that their customer satisfaction level is at the top, because new businesses comes up every day, new competitors will come up every day. They will come up with better innovation. They'll come up with better way of serving the customer. And so if you are a business owner and you're just there leaving things to happen, leaving things to nature, not standing on your toes to guard things using business process management, you will just realize that somehow you are out of the market. And apart from competitive advantage, you would also, another reason is for agility. When you have business process management in place in your business, you are agile to respond to any technological changes that happens in the market. You are agile to respond to any, innovation or transformation that is happening in your space or your field. So for these reasons, process management is a very critical part of any successful business. And that will take us into the next, will take us into the next topic, which is to talk about what are the benefits of business process management. There are a lot of benefits to it, a whole lot of benefits. It starts from revenue growth, which is one key thing to any business. If you have your things, if you have your games together, if you know, okay, if you have a retail business, for instance, and in your retail business, you have defined a reorder level threshold for your items, you have defined how you want to check your inventory, you have defined how you want to take care of customer issues, all of those things are already in place. Definitely, when you do these things right, you tend to give your customers top-notch service. They are satisfied. When they are satisfied, they bring in more customers, right? And then the more they bring in more customers, the more your revenue grows. Also, cost reductions, because you're not at that point just reacting. You have been proactive. Business process management helps any business to be proactive. You are proactive. You've identified, by putting together your operations and taking a look at them, you have already been able to identify where you have gaps, and you're already closing them out. So there's hardly anything that would come and shake your business, and then you have to start reacting and finding way around it, which would even cost you more. Another thing that business process management does, and that benefit of it is compliance. When there is, there's a saying that says that where there is no rule, there is no crime, or there's no sin, something like that. So if you have established or standardized approach or processes defined for your business, it means that your staff already know what to do. They are not just doing things for the sake of doing it. They know why they are doing it, and they know the result they will achieve with doing it the way it has been defined. And that way, there's no room for errors, right? Another benefit is risk management. So, like I mentioned when I was talking about cost reduction, when you have your processes in place, it helps you to foresee, circumstances in the future. It helps you to begin to think of what you want to do to address any risk that you've identified in your operations, because what you have sat down, you have looked at it, you have standardized it. Cost avoidance is another benefit. Productivity improvements, improved customer experience. I talked about this already. Competitive advantage, because you're always ready. The change does not just meet you where you're just there. Transformation and innovation agility. It also helps to tie strategy to execution. You know what your business goal is, and it helps you to define the roadmap to achieving your strategy for the business. And another thing is also digital transformation. Now, what industries uses business process management? If you ask me, I would say every industry needs business process management. But mostly the industries that have a lot of repetitive work or pattern of operation employs the use of business process management. And such industries are the education sector, real estate, telecoms and information technology, finance and insurance, healthcare, manufacturing, wholesale and retail trade, travel and hospitality, government, automotive and transport, legal, So if you look at all of this list, the list of industries that needs business process management, you can already see, you can tell, or you should already feel that yes, there's a space for you in any of these sectors. So we would now, having said all of that, we would go into who really is a business process manager. A business process manager is that person that evaluates, designs, executes, measures, monitors, and controls business processes to improve efficiency. So that the business process manager is that person that helps the business to ties a strategy to execution. Is that person that would sit down and look at, oh, this is the operation of this business. Oh, there's a gap here. We need to close it. Is that person that will look at, oh, we are doing this way today and we are achieving X, Y, Z. I think if we do it this way, we would achieve more. Is that person that would ensure that would help the business to see the gaps in their operations and where they can easily drive profitability and performance of their business. And so the business process manager is also that person that would work and ensure that the outcomes of the business is in harmony with the organizational strategic goals. Meaning that, for every time or for every year, businesses would have their strategic goals. For some year, it could be revenue growth. For some year, it could be customer satisfaction. For some year, it could be launch of the new products and, the how far the product will reach in markets. No matter what that strategic goal or goals are, the business process manager is that one that ensures that the operations, how it is done, is still in harmony with that goal, and it helps to drive achieving those goals, sorry. So business process manager is also one person that would work with all departments in any organization. They are like, I call them internal consultants, because they are expected to have a knowledge of every department in any organization. Or you can also refer to them as the wise men of the business, because they're expected to know what goes down, at least, basic knowledge of what happens in every department in an organization. And as such, they would work with all departments to ensure that they drive efficiency of each department processes. Bearing in mind that for every business, they are all working towards one goal, regardless of the number of departments in the business. In any typical business, you would have the sales team, you would have the finance team, you would have the legal team, you would have the operations team. At the end of the day, they are all of these departments would be working together to achieve one goal for the business, which is to expand, to make the business grow, to make the business profitable, right? But everybody now have their own unique input that they are bringing in. So the business process manager is that middleman that brings everybody together to ensure that everybody's goals per department comes together in one piece and push that organizational goal. So how do you become a business process manager? To become a business process manager, first thing is you need a bachelor's degree. You need a bachelor's degree. Most importantly, that is really closely related to the industry that you intend to work. You want to be in the IT space, you want to be in the manufacturing space, you want to be in the retail space, you want to be in the education sector, you want to be in government. You need a bachelor's degree. You need that base knowledge to be able to work as a business process manager in that industry that you intend to work with. Then There are also several certification courses that you could take to boost your knowledge, in the industry that you want to work with. We have ITU, that is really, important for those that want to be in the information technology sector. We have Six Sigma. Six Sigma is important for the people that want to be in manufacturing sector and also information technology. Then we have the Certified Business Process Associate. As a matter of fact, project management is also another important certification course that you can add to your CV. And in some cases, some employers would prefer that their candidates have more advanced qualifications, such as a master's degree. Some would even ask for, they would specifically ask for an MBA if you want to work with them. And what is this? What is the starting point for a business process manager? A business process manager starts their career usually as a junior member. Myself, as a typical example, I started as an analyst. I started like with really almost no idea, and I started working around departments, which is typically how it would be if you decide to pick a career in business process management. You would start as a junior member of the process management department. In some organizations, they don't call them business process management. Some will call them corporate quality, some will call them operational excellence. Every business have their own way of defining these things, but the job description will still take you around being a business process management personnel. So you start as a junior member, where you begin to study how the business runs and work on process improvement projects. Because for every unit there is always there's always a room for improvement. And so, as a junior member of any BPM department, you find yourself working on those process improvement projects. And after a while, I mean, if as a smart learner, as a fast learner, I think a minimum of 2 years, 18 months, you should be able to have full grasp of whatever industry you're working in, or whatever company you're working with. You should be able to have gained a certain level of expertise with process improvement. And then at that point, your promotion starts. You start rising to the level of a manager. As a matter of fact, some business process managers get to the level of chief operating officers in some cases, because they have an idea of what happens here and there in the different departments of a business. So I'll go into the next slide that talks about what is the, 1 minute, please. Trying to see. Sorry about that. So I'm trying to open this part. So what are the skills that are required to be a business process manager, or what are the skills that are required to be competent in this field? Gartner did they shared an infographic prior to Business Process Management Summit that they had in 2014 to highlight the 15 skills that are critical to business process management success. And these skills were in 3 categories, although 15 in number. There is the transformational competence, there's the operational competence, there's the technical competence. Excuse me. So for transformational competencies, you have 5 skills listed under that. There is the part that speaks to building the BPM business case and vision. So transformational competencies really mean that you are able to transform the business. You're able to deepen the business process management culture in any industry or the business that you find yourself working with. Now, it speaks to building the BPM business case and vision. It speaks to communication, speaks to knowledge of organizational structure and culture, speaks to organizational change techniques and project management. Please, I need a minute. Oh, I am. Hi, Yusuf, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you.
I'm so sorry about that. I needed to take water. Okay. So I was talking about competencies, and we're on transformational competencies, where I spoke about your ability to transform the business, embed the business process management culture in the company or the industry that you find yourself working in. And that speaks to 5 competencies. That's building the BPM business case and vision. There should be a vision for the business in terms of business process management, communication, knowledge of organizational structure and culture. You should have that institutional knowledge and know how to cascade it down to the other staff or employees of the company. Organizational change techniques, should know how to drive change management. Project management is also very, very important. Another competencies that was also highlighted was operational competencies, and that speaks to business process discovery, business process governance, and process policy management. You should be able to um, help the business to discover processes that would help that business to achieve its goals, or support the goal of the business. You should be able to um, derive process governance and policy management for the business. Also, business process modeling, analysis, and design. A lot of tools are used for this. You will find Visio and so many other out there in the market for use. Establishing a BPM methodology toolbox, and then process performance management. Then technical competencies. 1 minute, 20. We have the agile and modern driven application development, BPM technology product knowledge, business process optimization and simulation. And I'll go ahead and talk about other skills that are required to excel in this role. So essential skills that according to the BPM definition and certification. So apart from the transformational, operational, and technical competencies framework by Gartner, one perspective that is derived from the definition of BPM is that it is a management discipline that manages business processes and helps them to improve. And based on this definition, a business process manager needs to be adept in the following practice areas to be truly successful in applying BPM. A business process manager needs to have good systems thinking. You'll be able to visualize how a system is meant to work. And that way, you are able to identify what is required to be put together. And even when you're doing your requirement gathering, you're able to know what questions you're asking the users to be able to come up with a very smooth running system. A business process manager also needs to know how to do requirement gathering. Because remember I said you are that person, that middleman that brings everybody together. So you should know how to do requirement gathering. You should know what questions to ask. You should know what mode of communication will work for your stakeholder. For your stakeholders. Then also is process discovery and process modeling, like I mentioned before. Facilitation skills, you know how to bring your stakeholders together to attend meetings, brainstorming sessions, awareness workshops, and those things that would embed or deepen process culture in the organization. Performance measurement is also very important for you to have as a business process manager, because you're not just coming to put processes together. You're also coming to ensure that there is efficiency. You're coming to ensure that the processes that are in place are achieving their objectives. So you should be able to measure performance of any business process vision that you have for the business or the organization. Process analysis and design is also very important. You should know how to use those work tools and job aids that will help you to analyze and design processes. Rules and decision management, you should be able to know how to come up with governing rules, manage decisions for the company that would drive achieving the strategic goal of the organization. Governance and establishing centers of excellence is also an important skill. Because quality drives operational excellence. Operational excellence drives customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction drives revenue growth. So in everything that you are doing when it comes to business process management, quality should be a key thing to note when delivering business process management. The technical, other technical skills will be BPM requirement gathering. We already mentioned that. Designing user experience, optimization, and simulation. Then you should also be able to align processes with business strategy. I think I said that in like the first 2 slides. Then analyze and setting benchmarks for processes. You should be able to know when the process is working or not. You should be able to know what best practices are out there that you can adopt for your business. Discovering and modeling processes, establishing policies and rules. These skills are really important or are essential skills to have as a business process manager. So then I think I'll move on to the next slide. Okay. Oh, I missed the slide. So in when you talk about what is out there for business process managers, today's in the landscape of businesses today, or in the competitive global marketplace today, there's a strong demand for those that has the ability to innovate and optimize.
Sorry, didn't take a minute. I think didn't take water or catch your breath. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. So I was talking about today's competitive global marketplace, that now has a very strong demand for those with the ability to innovate and optimize business processes. And according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the job output for business process managers is very strong. And there's an expectation for the growth of business process management or manager demand to grow by 27% in the coming decade. According to them, this growth is much faster than average and due in large parts to the need for improvements in business processes, efficiency, and automation to remain competitive in the global economy. As a matter of fact, they also projected that there's going to be a 14% increase in jobs through 2024 for business process managers. And below on my screen, you will see what the average salary for a business process manager in the US. It ranges from $86,000 to $106,000 with an average salary of $95,000. This statistics or this data was as of July 2022. So together underneath, I have taken different salary range that was populated by different recruiting sites, PayScale, ZipRecruiter, Indeed, Salary.com, Glassdoor, and as you can see, they look very, very attractive. Note that this salary would range, it ranges depending on so many factors such as your education, certifications, the additional skills, and your years of experience in that profession. So having said all of this, I think to a large extent, we can draw the curtain on the presentation, and I'll be happy to take any questions from here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Awa. It's been an interesting session. I've just been listening through and absorbing all the points you were raising, which was very, very insightful. Thank you so much for that. I think you can stop sharing your slides. It's still on the screen. So we have a couple of questions here, for this role. I have a couple of questions for this role. So can you hear me, please?
I can hear you, please.
Okay. Thank you. I find this very, very, insightful for me personally, knowing that it's not just for someone that wants to start a career, it's also for business people. So because you've added a very important point that shows that even as a business owner, you need to consider all of these factors. You need to be a business process manager yourself, and you need to consider all these factors when you are building your businesses or your product in a larger scale. So, but I want to ask something saying that as young people that want to get into this space, can they work as a remote person, like as a business process manager? Can you work remotely? That's the first question I have. Do you mind me reading all the questions, or do you like to answer them one after the other?
Okay, you can read all the questions and we would take them one after the other.
Okay, the first thing is, can they work remotely? Does that have to be a physical appearance at work every day? And second one is, you mentioned a very important point in this, and you mentioned on start about the salary range in the US, and like, so it begs the question that can the African space right now, have you seen a demand for this role, as a business manager? Have you seen the increased demand for it that you would encourage other young people to take that career path to, or if you've not seen, what are the chances for someone in Africa that's looking to tow this path? And so, and the third question is, there's some career path that you might want to take and realize that you don't have entry level roles that for it. Is it a mid-level career roles only, or you can start as an entry level role you can get an entry level role as a business process manager? Because I remember the other time you explained about the range, like at least for 18 months, if you start working for 18 months, you can get full grasp of the role. So I would like you to shed more light, if it's possible. There are entry level roles for a business process manager. I think there are 3 questions I have here with me for now that people are asking for. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Yusuf. So for the first question, that can they work remotely? Yes, they can work remotely. I mean, thanks to the pandemic, it opened our eyes to the reality of being able to work remotely and deliver effectively, right? So yes, they can work remotely, because what does it entail? It entails you getting your stakeholders together, getting information from them, ensuring that processes are standardized. And pretty much as a business process manager, you do a lot of engagement. And today, in today's world, a lot of engagement are being done virtually, meaning you don't have to be present physically to get things done. So yes, you can work remotely. You said, is it a high level job, right? Is it in high demand today? Well, in Africa today, it is in high demand, and I would say that we're not there yet in terms of my expectations for the demand for this skill or this profession. But in the banking sector, it is really, really in high demand, because the banking sector is really, really process driven. It's a process driven sector. Manufacturing sector, yes, is in high demand. But I think even in the IT space, I personally, I know data to back this up, but personally, I feel like we still have a long way to go in that regard. But averagely in Africa, yes, it is in high demand. It is worthwhile. It is a profession that I would advise my younger ones to take on, because I don't think we have enough in that space yet. Then the third question is can you join as an entry level? At an entry level, yes, you can join at an entry level. As a matter of fact, it is the best way to start. That is where you get your experience, right? That is where your inquisitive mind comes into play. You ask questions when you're engaging your stakeholders, and So yes, you can join at an entry level. It's not just a mid-level role. You can join at an entry level and then grow in that career path.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That explains a lot, and it just shows that it is beyond tech. Like you mentioned about the increase in demand for it in the banking sector and in the manufacturing sector, which is very important for anybody that's willing to do that path. So, but to start with, now we are encouraging young people to join. Can you recommend some courses that they can start with? They can learn from. I mean, practically references that you can say, okay, you can take these free courses, because mostly people will say, oh, money, I don't have money to take professional certification, like you mentioned the other time. But these are some things that you can start with,
There are a lot of, we all know about LinkedIn Learning, we know about Coursera, we know about, what's this other one, Udemy. So there are a lot of free courses there on business process management. There are a lot of free courses there that you can take, So just log into one of these platforms, type business process management, and you'll see a lot of things there that you can take on.
I think that answers the questions I have here with me. So thank you so much, Mr. Mtabelawa. It's been an exciting session with you here, and we've learned a lot. Personally, I've actually had to unlearn, I was like, okay, I think it's only tech, but now I realize that it's even more prevalent in the non-tech areas.
Yeah, it is. It's not just tech. It's in all sectors. I feel every business needs a business process management initiative in their business.
What it just came to my mind, I wanted to ask, because I was trying to convince you with a project manager, Is there a difference? Are there similarity between them, or?
Well, there are similarities, but it is different from being you need the project management skill to excel as a business process manager, right? Because project management, we know what a project is. Project is something that has a start time and an end time, right?
Yeah.
And that is also the same thing as processes. Just that in this case, what you're doing is more of a culture thing. It's more of a culture thing for the organization that you're working with. It's more of ensuring that the institutional knowledge is maintained and things are done as they should be done. So, for instance, if you want to work on a particular process, if it's say a sales process, you're just either developing it or you want to improve it. There is a start time to it and there's an end time to it. In the middle of doing all of that, you are engaging stakeholders, you are looking out for risk, you are ensuring that you deliver according to the timeline that you have said you will deliver, right?
Yeah.
So those are the roles that this project management plays in business process management. It's a skill that you need. It's not entirely the same thing, but oftentimes they go hand in hand, and you can even succeed as a project manager if you have the experience of business process management. And also as a project manager, you can also delve into process management and still succeed because they go hand in hand.
Okay, thank you so much for clarifying that. It shows that the skill of project management can also help you to transition. For those that are actually thinking of transitioning, if you have a skill in project management, that would go a long way, like what you mentioned just now.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for doing justice to this topic. I hope you can call you next time. You'll be able to come to us again.
I'll be glad to do that.
Yeah. So to everyone listening to us from our Facebook pages and our YouTube channel, thank you so much for being part of this. This is a program we do on a bi-weekly basis, where we tend to bring tech professionals or people outside of tech to come and talk about concepts young people can learn, skills they can acquire, and how they can continuously evolve themselves and be a better version of themselves. So thank you so much, Mr. Belawa. So that will be bye for now, for my own end.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye.